So why are people moving to Columbus, Ohio? And more importantly, why are some crushing it while others are desperately trying to leave the next year? Because look, here is the reality. Columbus isn't just growing because of some generic affordable housing pitch. There's something deeper happening here that most people don't understand until they're actually living here. And when I went down that rabbit hole of trying to understand what's driving this growth, what I found was definitely not what I expected. The surface level answers were easy. Jobs, lower cost of living, all those basic things. And honestly, that's kind of where people start to get it wrong. But look, when we deep dive into all of these things, the real story of why Columbus works for certain people is way more nuanced than any economic development brochure will tell you. So let me break down the actual reasons why people are moving here, who's succeeding, who's failing, and most importantly, how to know if you're making this move for the right reasons or if you're about to become another regret statistic. Let's dive in. Look, the most fascinating aspect of Columbus's growth isn't people fleeing the coasts. It's actually a smaller percentage than you'd think. The real story is the suburb-to-suburb migration from other Midwest and Mid-Atlantic cities. And honestly, this changes everything about who succeeds here. See, Columbus isn't getting the Manhattan finance bros tired of paying $5,000 a month for a studio. We're getting the family from Pittsburgh whose kids are about to start middle school. We're getting the couple from Indianapolis who want to level up their career without leaving the Midwest entirely. We're getting that remote worker from Cleveland who wants a bigger city but not Chicago-level chaos. And here's why this actually matters. These people already understand Midwest culture, Midwest weather, Midwest social dynamics, and they're not shocked by gray February skies. They're not confused by the passive-aggressive communication styles. They just get it. In fact, literally today, as we were making a video, we had someone reach out from Michigan. I asked which video in particular made them want to reach out to us, and they said, well, the pros and cons. Because the cons, we've already covered. And the cons, they've lived. So this Midwest to Midwest migration is very prevalent. But the people moving from the coast or the Sun Belt, oftentimes they're the ones that are struggling because they're coming here expecting a miniature Chicago or an affordable Austin, and Columbus is neither of those things. Ironically enough, I heard someone in the comments say something really smart, which is Columbus is great in the summer and sucks in the winter. Austin is great in the winter and sucks in the summer. It made me laugh a little bit. But take Dublin and New Albany, for instance. These aren't just bedroom communities anymore, and this is where Columbus is starting to get really interesting. These suburbs have evolved into something entirely different from traditional suburban sprawl. So we're talking master planned communities with actual urban amenities, but without the urban problem. Bridge Park in Dublin is the perfect example. You've got luxury apartments, corporate headquarters, breweries, restaurants, a boutique hotel, outdoor concert spaces, all walkable, all designed around a central plaza. It's like they took the best part of urban neighborhoods and said, what if we built this from scratch in the suburb where parking actually works? And look, here's the thing that no one actually tells you. Columbus suburbs are more sophisticated than the city itself in a lot of different ways. That sounds a little backward, but honestly, it's true. The urban core is still trying to figure itself out. Lots of surface parking lots, disconnected neighborhoods, incomplete streetscapes. But the suburbs, they're building cohesive, complete communities with intentionality that downtown simply lacks. New Albany has created this bizarre bubble of wealth and perfection that feels like you've stepped into a different reality. Every street is immaculate, every lawn is perfect, the schools are consistently top ranked, and the community centers has facility that rivals college campuses. It's honestly just almost a little too perfect. But we're not going to talk about that. But for the families who actually want that level of order and excellence, is exactly what they're looking for. And this is kind of creating this weird dynamic where the suburb is actually what people are drawn to, not the city. Look, people that are moving to Columbus because of Worthington or Powell or Burlington exist, they're not necessarily looking downtown. The urban core is just there. It exists. It's got some good restaurants and some good bars, but it's not the main reason why people relocate. And honestly, this is fundamentally different from how cities like Austin, Nashville, or Denver work, where the urban core is the identity of the city. Columbus's identity is actually in its suburban ring, which creates a complete different kind of growth pattern. And these communities are designing themselves around lifestyle migration in a way that didn't exist 5 years ago. I'm going to put my glasses on as I'm talking about this because we're talking about neighborhoods where you can actually walk your kids to school, walk to the grocery store, walk to a restaurant and coffee shop, but still have yard, a driveway, and space to breathe. Places like Grandview are the perfect hybrid. Technically a suburb, but feel urban. You can walk to everything on Fifth Avenue, boutiques, restaurants, bars, coffee shops, but you've also got living specifically in a house with a yard, with good schools, with neighborhood character. And the price points, honestly, it's making it accessible in a way that peer cities simply don't. A renovated house in Grandview might run you $500,000 to $600,000. The same walkable lifestyle in Denver, $900K minimum. In Austin, over $1 million. And this isn't my numbers or my opinion either. I got real estate buddies of mine that work in both these markets. It's expensive over there. Columbus is offering that suburban urban hybrid at a discount, and people are simply noticing. But here's what's changing in 2026 that no one's really talking about. These desirable suburban pockets are running out of inventory. New Albany, Dublin, Upper Arlington, Grandview, Worthington, if you want to buy in these areas, you're competing with multiple offers, waived contingencies, and escalation clause. The affordable Columbus narrative doesn't really apply here. But you've got this separated market where half of Columbus is legitimately affordable, places like Grove City, Reynoldsburg, Hilliard, while the other half is turning into a mini version of expensive markets people are supposedly escaping. And look, this brings up the first critical question. Are you moving to Columbus for the affordable areas, or are you moving here to compete for the same desirable neighborhoods that everyone else wants? Because these are two completely different moves with completely different outcomes. Columbus is turning into complete separate markets, and honestly, it's really intriguing to watch. A home in Dublin or New Albany, if priced correctly, is still beating the days on market average that's all throughout the market. Which is why you need to work with an agent that understands these micro markets, that understands these nuances. If you are thinking about making the move to Columbus, or you have any questions about the move whatsoever, please don't hesitate to reach out. That's exactly what my team and I do. All of our contact information is down in the description below and pinned to the top of the comments. Don't make this migration alone, because honestly, it's one that's treacherous and rough. But let's talk about something a little bit different, because a lot of people that are reaching out to us are actually hybrid workers or remote workers. And that remote work arbitrage, it's actually kind of working. I know you weren't expecting me to say that, but let's talk about the group that's quietly winning in Columbus. Remote workers doing geographic arbitrage. But again, it's not in the way that you think. And if you think this topic is interesting, wait till we talk about the next two. I've literally never seen any videos cover them. So everyone talks about remote workers leaving San Francisco or NYC for lower cost of living. And that's not entirely true, especially not here. The remote workers coming here aren't coming from the $300,000 tech job in Silicon Valley. They're moving from the $80,000 to $120,000 jobs in cities like DC, Boston, Philadelphia, and Chicago. And here's why Columbus works for them in a way it doesn't work for higher earners. The lifestyle to cost ratio is optimized for that $80,000 to $120,000 income level in Columbus. At that level, you can honestly get everything that you would want. You can buy a really nice house, live in a good neighborhood, have disposable income for entertainment and travel, while consequently building wealth through appreciation. If you're making $300,000 remotely, Columbus honestly doesn't make all that much sense. You're not really getting enough lifestyle upgrade to justify leaving a more sophisticated city. But if you're making $100,000, Columbus offers a life that requires $180,000 in DC or Boston. Look, here's the specific math that's honestly working. A couple making a combined $150,000 in Columbus buys a $450,000 house. There's a ton of great options at that price point. They have a $2,800 a month mortgage, including taxes and insurance, and still got about $5,000 to do anything else. That same couple in Washington, D.C. would need to make $240,000 to have that lifestyle. And honestly, this is where Columbus's middle-class accessibility becomes its superpower. We're not trying to be a playground for the wealthy. We're a place where normal people with good jobs can just live. And you can live really, really well. But here's what remote workers who are thriving all have got it figured out. Columbus only works if you intentionally build the lifestyle that you want. The city isn't going to hand it to you. You have to seek out the cultural experiences, find your community, and create your social life. The remote workers who move here and expect the city to entertain them, they're miserable within 6 months. The ones who join clubs, get involved in community organizations, build actual friendships, and create their own adventure, they're thriving. I know a couple that actually moved here from Brooklyn in 2014, both remote workers, combined income about $200,000. They bought a renovated Victorian in German village, $550,000, a house that would go for $2 million in Brooklyn. They joined a run club, got involved with the community garden, hosted dinner parties, went to the Short North Gallery Hop, took weekend trips to Hawkins Hill. They built exactly the life that they wanted for half the cost, but also they put in the work. They didn't just move here and wait for Columbus to impress them. Compare that to another couple that I know from Seattle. They had a similar income, similar remote work setup. They bought a house in New Albany thinking a nice suburb would be enough, but they didn't build any social connection. They didn't get involved with anything, and they honestly just missed Seattle. They moved back in a year and a half. The difference is simple: intentionality. One couple treated Columbus like a place to build a life. The other treated it like a cheap place to exist. So here's that remote work arbitrage that no one's actually speaking about. Columbus is kind of becoming a talent exporter. Young people grow up here, go to Ohio State or another local university, they get educated and trained, and then leave for a higher paying market. They spend 5 to 10 years in Chicago, DC, or even New York. They build a career and savings, then move back to Columbus with their higher salaries and remote positions. This reverse migration is creating a cohort of Columbus natives who understand the city, already have social networks here, and are honestly just coming back with coastal salaries and Midwest costs. These people are absolutely crushing it because they get the best of both worlds. They know how to navigate Columbus's culture, they already have friends and family here, and they're earning above market income. And honestly, this is creating a new Columbus upper middle class that's different from a traditional Ohio State professor or corporate lifer. These 35 to 45-year-olds with remote jobs, equity compensations, sophisticated tastes, and Midwest roots, yeah, they're existing. They're demanding better restaurants, better art, better everything, and they have the income to actually support it. You know what I mean? This group is why Columbus is slowly getting better. They're the customer base for new restaurants, new developments, the cultural improvements, and they're proof that Columbus can work at a higher level than, honestly, it traditionally has. Let's talk about something else that exists here. I know we're talking a lot about the kind of people that are coming here, but this one is important. The corporate relocation wave that's different from any other city. Columbus is experiencing corporate relocation and expansion, but it's also a different flavor than what's happening in Nashville, Austin, or Raleigh. Now, to understand that difference is crucial to understanding whether Columbus's growth is sustainable or a temporary blip. Here's what's actually happening. Columbus isn't getting headquarter relocations. We're getting regional offices, satellite locations, and backup operations. JP Morgan Chase isn't moving their headquarters here, they're moving their technological operations. Google isn't making Columbus a primary hub, but they're expanding data centers and support operations. This matters because it changes the type of jobs and the type of growth. Back office operations and regional offices bring good jobs, but they don't bring decision makers. The executives are still in New York or San Francisco or wherever their HQ is. Columbus gets the doer, not the strategic leader. And this creates a specific kind of economy. Stable, well-paying, but with a career ceiling. You can build a solid life in Columbus, make good money, have a comfortable life, but you're probably not becoming a C-suite executive at a major company by staying here. The companies that are fully committing to Columbus are interesting though. We're talking about Root Insurance. Although they've had their struggles, they started here and was initially staying here. Cover My Meds, which is now sold but maintained their Columbus presence. These homegrown tech companies are proving that you could build and scale businesses in Columbus without leaving for the coast. And the healthcare sector, this is where Columbus honestly has real strength. We're talking Nationwide Children's Hospital is one of the premier pediatric facilities in the entire country. Ohio State Wexner Medical Center is a major research institution. The healthcare ecosystem here is legitimate with a good job, research opportunities, and room for career growth as well. But here's the corporate angle that honestly no one's talking about. Look, Columbus is benefiting from companies wanting to diversify away from expensive coastal hubs, but not wanting to go too far into a flyover city. We're the Goldilocks location, not too expensive, not too remote, just right. Companies can hire good talent here for about 20 to 30% less than in Chicago or New York. But we're still a major metro with an airport, infrastructure, and urban amenities. We're close enough to the coast that executives don't feel like they're being banished to nowhere, but we're far enough from the coast where the real savings actually are apparent. And this is creating a steady, unsexy growth. We're not Nashville with everyone talking about us. We're not Austin with the boom and bust energy. We're just consistently adding jobs, consistently attracting companies, consistently growing at a substantial pace. And for people that move here, this is going to matter. Look, if you're looking for excitement or a boomtown, Columbus isn't it. If you're looking for stability, consistency, Columbus delivers. The job market here isn't sexy, but it is reliable. One thing that is unique is Columbus has major companies across multiple different sectors. We're talking insurance with the Nationwide. We've got retail, Bath & Body Works, Victoria's Secrets, healthcare, education, tech, logistics. Diversity means one important thing. If one sector struggles, the whole economy doesn't tank. Compare this to cities that are overdependent on one industry: Detroit with autos, Pittsburgh with steel historically, even Austin with tech. Columbus's diversified economy is actually a huge advantage that doesn't get enough attention. The downside is we don't have a signature industry or a signature identity. We're not the tech city or the financial hub or the creative capital. We're just a diversified market. That's great for stability, but it means Columbus lacks the clear identity that helps cities recruit top talent and build cultural assets. All right, let's talk about the quality of life equation that actually makes sense. All right, man. Let's get real. When we talk about the quality of life right here in the 614, this is where the marketing materials and the reality diverge. Because we need to talk about this. Columbus offers a good enough quality that makes sense for a lot of people. If you, however, need anything that's world class, we're talking restaurants, art, nightlife, cultural institution, you're going to be disappointed. But if you value having access to good versions of everything without the chaos and expense of a major city, Columbus delivers. Look, here is the specific value proposition. In Columbus, you can have a comfortable life without struggle. Your commute is manageable, 25 minutes, not 90. Your housing is affordable. $400,000 gets you a nice place, not a teardown. Your day-to-day stress is lower, less traffic, less crowds, less constant competition over everything. And for people coming from high-stress, high-cost cities, this is transformative. The feeling of not being in constant survival mode, of not being able to breathe and actually enjoy your life is worth more than any fancy restaurant or museum. But this is the critical part. This only works if you're in the right stage of life. Columbus is perfect for families with kids who want good schools, safe neighborhoods, and space. Couples in their 30s ready to settle down and build stability. People tired of that grind who want to prioritize life over a career. Remote workers who can maintain coastal salaries with Midwest cost. Columbus is, however, wrong for young, ambitious, single people who want to be in the mix. We're not Austin. People who need cultural sophistication and variety. We're good, but not great. Anyone that gets bored easily or needs constant stimulation. Sorry again, people who want career growth that requires being in a major market. That is simply not us. The outdoor access is genuinely underrated though. We got metro parks that are free, well-maintained, and extensive. You can kayak, hike, bike without driving far or dealing with crowds. The Scioto Mile in downtown is a legitimate nice urban greenway. The trail systems connecting neighborhoods are expanding, and if you value outdoor recreation, Columbus gives you this easy access without the barriers. Compare this to cities that you need to drive hours to find nature for, or where the good outdoor spaces are crowded and expensive. Columbus simply makes it easy. Look, weather is the wild card that can break people, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. November through March is simply rough. Not because of the extreme cold or the massive snow, though we get some here and there, but because of the relentless gray. If you've never experienced seasonal depression, Columbus winters will teach you a thing or two. But look, here's what made people thrive here. Understand this. You can have a winter strategy, sad lamps, vitamin D supplements, winter hobbies, a budget for escaping to somewhere warm at least once. If you just try to toss it out without a plan, you're going to be simply miserable. The people I know that love Columbus have all figured out how to survive here. The ones who hate it, they never adapted. The food scene is better than most expect, but worse than the hype. Columbus has some genuinely good restaurants. We're talking about the Guild House, we're talking about Ambrose and Eve. We've got a ton of ethnic food as well. Ethiopian, Vietnamese, Indian. The short north is a solid spot. But look, let's be real, we're not this foodie's paradise, although we're working towards it. We've got good food, but not great food. And if you're seriously a foodie who wants top tier food cities, you're going to notice that gap. But if you want an affordable, delicious meal without spending $200 per person, yeah, Columbus has got plenty of that. The social scene is the thing that makes it or breaks it for people that honestly live here, and it's the hardest thing to predict. I've seen extroverts struggle with making friends in Columbus, and I've seen introverts build amazing communities. It all depends more on your willingness to put yourself out there than your personality type. Look, the key insight is Columbus requires active social effort. People aren't just going to come to you, you have to join things, show up repeatedly, and be patient while connections build. If you're waiting for Columbus to have a vibrant social scene that pulls in everything passively, you're gonna be waiting forever. But if you're willing to work for it, join a running club, take classes, volunteer, or go to meetups, just simply say yes to invitations, you can build real community here. It just takes a little bit longer and requires more intentionality than in most natural social cities. And honestly, this is one of the main reasons why we love to connect all of the members that work with our team together, whether it be for a referral party, whether you do a specific career field, whatever it may be. We like to connect people because I think it's amazing to have, honestly, a referral party with the people that we work with. So that way you can network, you can connect, and you can grow. If you want something like that, or you simply want to work with our team to buy a home in Columbus, Ohio, please reach out. Do not hesitate. All of our contact information is down below and pinned to the top of the comments. All right, let's talk about the math. And if you've appreciated everything that we've covered thus far, just let us know in the comments. But let's talk about piss. All right, it's time for a reality check, because this is something that you should know way before you put your first couch in that moving truck. Actual cost. And I mean everything in Columbus, because the math isn't mathing people. Because Columbus is affordable is an oversimplified statement that is borderline misleading. Affordable compared to what, bro? San Francisco, sure. Affordable compared to Pittsburgh, barely. Affordable compared to your life goals and income? That is the question that you need to be asking yourself. Okay, pen and paper's out, my friends. Let's do the real math. Scenario 1, you are a couple with a combined income of $150,000. You're moving from DC to Columbus. Let's talk about it. In DC, the rent for a 2-bedroom house in decent area is about $3,000. There's no car needed. You've got the Metro Pass, maybe $150 a month. Utilities are included, so let's say $0. Groceries, maybe a higher cost of life, $800 a month. Entertainment in a walkable city, $400. Total is about $4,400. Great. Columbus costs. The mortgage on a $400,000 house is $2,600, which includes taxes and insurance. 2 cars are required, payments, insurance, gas, and maintenance, about $1,000 a month. Utilities, which is gas, electric, and water, which is $300 a month. Groceries, let's say $600 a month, be fair. Entertainment that does require driving is $500 a month. And your total spend is $5,000 a month. Columbus is more expensive? In this scenario, yes, because the affordable housing is offsetted by transportation costs, utilities, and the need to drive everywhere. But let's open it up. Your scenario number 2. You are a family of 4. Your income is about $180,000. You're moving here from Silicon Valley. Let's talk about the numbers. A rental in Silicon Valley, 3-bedroom, is about $4,500 a month. 2 cars, California car ownership, $1,200 a month. Utilities, $350 a month. Groceries, $1,200 a month. Entertainment, $600 a month. Child care, $3,000 a month. Your total payment is $10,850 a month. Columbus. Let's do the math here. The mortgage on a $550,000 house in a decent area is going to be $3,800 a month. 2 cars are $900 a month. Utilities about $350 a month. The groceries about $900 a month. Entertainment is about $500 a month. Child care is about $2,000 a month. Your total is $8,450. You're saving about $2,400 a month, or $28,000 a year. Now that's real money. See the difference? Look, Columbus makes financial sense when you're coming from a very expensive city and you're replacing the high housing costs with moderate housing costs. But if you're coming here from a mid-tier cities, the math doesn't work as well as you think. And there's hidden costs that you need to know about as well. If you're simply coming here because Columbus is cheap, it's kind of an oxymoron. Okay, Transportation is anywhere from $800 to $1,200 a month for most households, or 2-car, insurance, gas, maintenance. This is money that disappears every single month and never really builds equity. Utility swings completely. It's insane. $150 in the summer, $350 in the winter. This variability makes budgeting really hard. Property taxes are anywhere from 1.5 to 2% of home value annually. That $400,000 house, you're paying $6,000 to $8,000 a month in property taxes. That's $500, $600 a month that people don't factor into their affordable mortgage. Ohio state income tax is 2.75 to 3.75 depending on your income. We're looking to move everything to a straight flat tax of 2.75, which I hope does come. If you're making $150,000, you're paying $4,000 to $5,000 a month in state taxes. Not Texas or Florida, but Ohio takes a cut. Also, we've got maintenance on an older housing stock. If you're buying an established neighborhood with character, you're buying a house that needs a little bit of work. We're talking anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 a year for maintenance. The driving everywhere tax is very, very prevalent, my friends. Gas, wear and tear, lost time, it all adds up. Maybe $300, $500 a month, just as a fractional cost for car dependency. Look, here is a financial equation that actually determines if Columbus makes sense. We're going to put everything here so you can kind of see it on the screen, but also do the math yourself. Current housing cost minus Columbus housing cost, that is in a parentheses as you're seeing on screen. Columbus transportation cost minus current transportation cost, again parentheses. Columbus utility cost minus current utility cost, parentheses. And then Ohio state income tax versus current state tax. That's your actual month saving. For most people moving from an expensive coastal city, that number is positive and it's significant, $1,500 to $3,000 in real saving. For anyone that's moving here from a mid-tier city, that number only might be $500 to $1,000. Nice, but not life-changing. For people that are moving here from other Midwest cities, the number honestly might be negative. You're not saving any money, you're just changing where you live. The only difference here, and this is the caveat, is the wealth building equation. If you're coming from a market where you're renting because you couldn't afford to buy and Columbus lets you buy, dude, that's huge. You're now building equity instead of just paying rent. Over 10 years, that's $100,000, $200,000 swing in wealth. If you're coming here from a market where you've already owned and you're selling to buy in Columbus, that wealth building advantage is a little bit smaller. Yes, your housing cost might be lower, but you're not magically building more wealth. You're just spending less money on a house, which you could theoretically use to invest or spend on other things. Look, here's the question that no one asks, and it's so interesting. What could you do with the money that you save living in Columbus? Because if you save $2,000 a month, but spend it on stuff you don't need, you didn't win. But if you're saving $2,000 a month and you invest it, that's $24,000 a year in built wealth. Over 10 years at an 8% return, that's $370,000. That's the real arbitrage. Not just lower costs, but lower costs that free up money to build wealth. That's the thing that you need to factor in. Like, here is the 2026 reality. If I can just put all my cards on the table here. What's actually changing? So what's different about Columbus now compared to 2023 and 2024? Because things are shifting in a way that could honestly change the equation for people considering a move here. Firstly, inventory is tight in desirable neighborhoods. And I'm not going to define desirable, but there are certainly some locations that we're seeing more active turnaround and active offers than others. The Columbus is affordable narrative is becoming less true in neighborhoods that people legitimately want to live in. Now, I'm not saying these neighborhoods are the desirable ones, but the locations that we're seeing, such as Sherman Village, Grandview Heights, Upper Arlington, New Albany, and Dublin, these areas have limited inventory and increasing prices. Look, you're competing with multiple offers, going over asking and waiving contingencies. Albeit right now, the market definitely has cooled down a lot and people are getting, well, decent steal. It hasn't completely broken down, and most sellers are still getting 97.9% of their asking price, especially in areas where there's a lot of movement. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to compete. The affordable Columbus still exists, but it's in areas that are a little bit further out or in transitional neighborhoods. If you want that established, desirable neighborhoods, you're paying close to what you'd pay in a secondary market somewhere else. The second thing is remote work is normalizing. What's changing is the pool. In 2020 to 2022, remote workers moving to Columbus were unicorns. Companies reluctantly allowing remote works, people taking advantage before policies changed. In 2026, remote work is just normal. Companies have matured remote policies. That means more people can consider Columbus, but it also means more competition for housing and for resources. The third is the Intel effect is starting to, well, be real. We're not at a peak point of impact yet. That's 2028 in my opinion. But we're starting to see early impact. Housing prices in Lincoln County are rising, traffic patterns are changing, development is accelerating, and if you're considering making a move to Columbus, you're making a decision while we're in this middle of a transition, which adds uncertainty. Again, the project was supposed to finish this year. Now it's 2030 or 2031. There's that gaping hole of uncertainty that's looming. The fourth thing is the downtown is actually kind of improving. For years, downtown Columbus was a punchline, dead at 6 p.m., surface parking lots, no residential density. That's finally changing. New apartment towers like the Merchant Building, converted warehouses, residential population growth. It's not Brooklyn yet, but it's actually becoming a place where people live and hang out and not just work. Fifth, the suburbs are getting more sophisticated. Bridge Park, grandscape-style homes, mixed-use town centers, the Gravity in Polaris. And this is making suburban Columbus more appealing to people who, well, wanted to live in that city life. Number 6, the cultural scene is noticeably better. More restaurants, more events, more art, more music. Again, it's not Chicago, it's not Austin, but that gap is narrowing, in my opinion. Columbus is becoming a more interesting city year over year, which improves quality of life and retention. 7th, the traffic is also getting worse. 270 is always under construction, 315 is a disaster during rush hour. The infrastructure isn't keeping pace with the growth. This matters because one of Columbus's big selling point was the manageable traffic. That's eroding. Number 8 is the demographic mix is kind of changing. Columbus is getting younger, more diverse, more educated. Ohio State is a huge driver. We're talking 50,000 plus students who oftentimes stay after their graduation. The city is slowly becoming less Midwestern traditional and more modern urban, which changes the culture and the vibe. So the question remains, should you move to Columbus, Ohio? Here's my take. After analyzing a ton of people that have moved here, after talking to the ones that are successfully relocated. Look, I've run a small media page called the Columbus Report. I'll put it right here. And on that page, we literally asked people point blank, where did you come from? And what do you like about living here? And this is how we made this video. So after speaking with them, we got a taste of what people actually cared about and what they thought was great and what they thought was terrible. Let's talk about those things. Columbus is great for families who want good schools, safe neighborhoods, and space without breaking the bank. It's great for remote workers making $100,000 to $150,000 who can maintain that income while living in a lower costs market. It's great for people from other Midwest cities who want to level up without leaving the Midwest culture. Anyone that's prioritizing stability and work-life balance over career advancement and cultural sophistication. People in the right stage of life to settle down and build a comfortable, predictable life. Columbus is wrong for young, ambitious professionals who need to be in major markets for career growth. Again, I'm a young individual that's pretty ambitious, I'd say. I love living in Columbus, Ohio, but that's also because I've been able to partner and grow with the right people. You need to find your tribe if you are in that field. People that need cultural sophistication, diversity, and constant stimulation, you're not gonna like it. We're a very slower pace of life. Anyone whose career had a ceiling in the secondary markets aren't gonna enjoy it here. People who struggle with seasonal depression or gray winters. Singles who need a vibrant dating scene and social life handed to them. Columbus may be right for people who can be honest about the trade-offs and accept them. Anyone who can build intentional community and create their own experiences. Folks who understand that this is a good enough city that works through cumulative small advantages, not through a single spectacular feature. The move to Columbus in 2026 is not about whether Columbus is good or bad, it's about whether Columbus matches your need at every point in life. It's your income level, with your personality and your value. Honestly, people are still moving here because of a specific subset of people. Columbus genuinely works for you. It offers quality of life that's hard to replicate anywhere else at this price point, but it's not for everyone. And pretending that it is just sets up people for disappointment and failure. Look, the bottom line is Columbus is growing because it's solving a real problem for real people. Stability in uncertain times, suburban sophistication without urban chaos, but it only solves these problems for people who already understood what Columbus was offering and wanted it specifically. If you're that person, Columbus in 2026 might be the best move you ever make. And if you're not, save yourself the headache and keep looking. Now look, if you found this video valuable and it gave you the real analysis that honestly you wouldn't get anywhere else, give us a call and shoot us a text. If you have any questions about a specific neighborhood, cost breakdowns, or anything else that really is important about moving here, drop a comment or give us a call directly. All of our contact information is right here because you need the truth. The truth is this: Columbus works, but only if you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. Look, we actually made an entire A to Z playlist about making that migration here. I'm gonna put that video right here. Watch it, and I'll see you soon. Peace.